and welcome to my April reading vlog. I'm not sure really what I'm going to do with this video, but it was just like a random idea I had just to keep better track of what I'm reading throughout the month and also keep track of like what I'm feeling about them from start to finish, you know, because I'll start a book and maybe I have expectations for it and I'm like, this is really great. Then you get to the end of the book and you're like, well, that was a disappointment. Or the opposite, where you start a book and you're like, this is slogging, and then you get to the end of it and you're like, oh my gosh, I need the next one. So I really just wanted to make like a video each month of like just my reading journey and like the different books that I'm reading, the books that I pick up that month, like from the library or buy, and just keep track for my own sake to go back and look, but then also to, you know, bounce off of you guys and see like what you're reading, if you've read these books, what you thought, if you had similar thoughts to what I had. So I have already finished one book this month, and that is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. There's another Tess that I read, so I always get confused if it's Tessa or Tess Bailey. But Tessa Bailey, this is the second book in the Bellinger, I think it's how you say their last name, series. So the first book was It Happened One Summer. This book, though, is about Hannah, who was the sister from the first book, and Fox, who we all knew that they were going to get together based on the first book. So this is their story. And I really did like it. I don't think it's my favorite romance read of the year. It slogged a lot, I would feel like, in the middle and kind of towards the end, just going over like repetitive kind of ideas of why they couldn't be together and stuff like that. And It Happened One Summer wasn't also one of my favorites. Like, I think I gave it like 4 stars just because there were some things that I didn't like about it. But I do really love Tess Bailey books, and I think this one is definitely cute. It's like a nice summer read, and I do really like Fox and Hannah. I think are really cute and sweet together, and I think what's kind of interesting about this is based on these two books, like I like them equally. Like there's not a couple that I prefer more, there's not a character that I prefer more, like they're both just kind of equally good, so I like that. And then what I'm currently reading and I'm actually really excited for is called Live, Love, Kidnap, which I found out about this, I think I was going through like recent books that had come out because I'm trying to keep more on track of what is like coming out, especially in like the YA community, because I feel like there's just so many debuts that I want to make sure I really stay on top of that and stuff. So this one, I'm not too far into it, only like 60 pages I think, is so good so far, guys. It's 3 points of view, these 3 different girls that all live in this town, or at least are visiting this town called Violet, and basically this town is like a super like, there's just like, what do you call them, like evangelical or whatever, like just this couple that has like taken over and has really peddled like their way of living and like sell stuff and has like done the whole town, and is basically like kind of a cult but not really cult, you know, when it's just, but it's like you can too can be like me if you buy my book, like that kind of stuff. So it's these 3 different girls that have each been affected differently by the town and how these people are kind of like ruining their lives. So in retaliation, they kidnap the son of the people to try and hold him for ransom and get some money. And it's really, really funny so far. I haven't been able to read too much, and I've only been reading it on like my work break, so I only get like 15 pages in or so at a time, and I feel like once I really can dive into it, I'm going to get through it so fast because it's so interesting so far and so entertaining. So I'm really excited to start that one. And then I have a bunch more books that I just got at the library, like so many, so I'm really kind of figuring out what I want to do, because I'm trying to like get through those, but then also like I want to stay on top of like books that come out in April. So I'm trying to balance that as best as I can. So hopefully I can get through some books, a lot of books this month, and that's fingers crossed. So I'll see you guys for the next update. So I had a really good reading weekend. I didn't get like a lot of books done, but I got basically the majority of Live, Laugh, Kidnap done, and I finished that, and I really, really liked that. And then I also was able to finish The Girl from the Sea, which is a graphic novel by Molly Knox Ostertag, I think is how you say her name, that I've been wanting to read for a while. So I was super glad that I found that at the library, and it was so freaking cute. Way more bittersweet than I thought it was going to be. And normally I don't like bittersweet endings, but I feel like this one made a lot of sense and was really, really, really cute. And then I thought, since I had mentioned that I had a bunch of books out from the library that I needed to get around to reading, that I would share my haul, because normally the way it works when I get books from the library is I get way too many and I don't end up reading them all right away because I have to bring them back. So I'm sure I'm not going to get to some of these books by the end of the month, and maybe some of them like I'll bring back and then try again in a couple months or something like that. But these are the ones I have, so it'll be interesting to see as the month goes on which ones I do get to. The one I just started today is Medusa, which is by Jessie Byrne, and it's this like graphic novel mixed in with chapters kind of retelling about Medusa and Perseus specifically and their relationship and how tragic it is and all that. And I just really like the Medusa myth. I think it's very interesting, and I like that it's been having this revival in the past few years of people giving it a feminine twist instead of just making her like this monster who just like turns people to stone and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. I'm only on like chapter 2, but I'm excited for that one. This is one, funnily enough, I actually started it and I didn't love it. I'm only like 30 pages in, A Far Wilder Magic by Allison Saft, which I was super excited to read. So I was kind of disappointed when it wasn't like drawing me in immediately. So far it gives me kind of like Scorpio Races vibes, and I just feel like Scorpio Races is so good that I don't know how you could compete with that. So I'm debating if I want to just like push through and see if it gets better, or it might be one that I bring back and then try again in a couple months, and then if it's not good, like I'll just read it when I have less on my list. Then I have Gilded by Marissa Meyer. I don't even know what this is about or if it's in the world of Cinder. I don't think it is. I think it's just also a fairy tale retelling, so that's why the book's covers look similar. But it's Marissa Meyer, and I love Marissa Meyer, and it has been a while since she's written a fairy tale thing. I think the last thing I read by her that was fairy tale was Heartless, which I loved. So I'm super excited to read this. This is another one that I'm curious if I'm actually going to get around to reading it this month, just because it's so big. It's almost 500 pages. So, you know, if I'm like really strapped for time, that might have to be one that doesn't make the cut. And then this one I was super excited for just because it was by Morgan Rhodes. So it's called Echoes and Empires. Morgan Rhodes has this series that I freaking love called the Fallen Kingdom series, and I'm telling you, like, this series has been bored. I haven't even finished the series, but like when I first started reading it was when it first came out, and that's why like just waiting over and over for 5 books I was like impatient. But like I remember reading that back in like high school or something like that. So now to see her have a new book, I'm excited to see what this one's going to be about, and the cover looks beautiful. Like the cover was like what drew me in really, and I'm super excited to read more about it and see what it's like. And then lastly, I have this other book that mainly it's just like I just look for like new books or books that like catch my eye, and this one is called The Wolves Are Waiting. I hadn't heard of it before I saw it at the library, and I just really thought the cover sounded interesting and the whole story sounded interesting, and the like looking at the social issues and stuff like that. But yeah, these are the books. I also have one more. These are the books. I also have Reckless Girls, which is the second book by the woman or the wife upstairs. It's her new one. I've got that too, so I'm sure I'm not going to read all of these this month, because then I'm also going to have the new books that are coming out that I'm going to pick up, and also like I want to get through some books on my shelf that are not library books that have been there for a while. So we'll see. We'll see. But right now I'm reading Medusa, so we'll see ya in the next update. Okay, so today is Saturday. For the week, I finished Medusa, which was so freaking good. Like I got it from the library, and I'm gonna go out and grab my own copy of it because it was just so wonderful. Like the illustrations match perfectly with the story. It was about the Perseus myth, which I only know, I mean, I know about the Perseus myth. I've never read it particularly, but I did have to watch Clash of the Titans in like 7th grade, I think. And if you've seen that, you know that Perseus and Medusa's meeting doesn't go quite great for Medusa. So this is a new retelling of it, and it's really nice. I loved the ideas that it brought up, like I was saying about the Medusa myth, and this is the first one I've seen, I think, that kind of talked bad about both Poseidon and Athena, because like sometimes I've been seeing like, oh, Athena like helped her out and like gave her the power that like no man could look at her, and it was like, yeah, but Medusa didn't ask for that. So I really like this one in that it looked at like giving Medusa her power back and not thinking of herself as a monster anymore, and I just really liked it, and Jessie Burton did a fabulous job of connecting it to real life issues, modern issues, and the last like lines in particular were really great about like talking about like when you look in the mirror at work or in the bathroom, like don't be afraid of who you are, like don't feel like you're at fault for something that was beyond your control, and like that was her accepting who she is and no longer being afraid of it. So I really like that. And then I also read, let me go grab it actually, Heartstopper Volume 4. So you probably know if you live in the US that these come out way behind, well not way behind, but way behind the UK releases. So I know this came out last year in the UK, but it only came out in like January of this year, and it was super hard to find. It was like sold out everywhere. So I finally went to Barnes & Noble's and they had one last copy and I got it, and I just haven't got around to reading it, kind of because I wanted to reread the whole series before I got to this one, but my bookshelf is a hot mess right now, so I couldn't find all 3 copies. I know I have them, I just don't know where exactly. So I decided just to read this one day when I was just like not really in the mood for anything that I had, and I just wanted something quick and lighthearted, and this was the perfect read, and it's definitely getting me prepared for the season premiere, the show premiere of Heartstopper on Netflix, which is this coming Friday, so less than a week right now, and I'm super, super excited. I just love it, and I'm so excited to see them in live action form very, very soon. And then what I'm reading right now currently is The Ex-Hex. I've had this for a while, and I just never got around to reading it. I was probably in a reading slump when I first got it, and that's why. So I'm really trying to get through more of the books on my bookshelf. I know that's kind of counterintuitive because you just saw how many library books I have, and I got even more since then. But I am trying. So The Ex-Hex is super, super cute. It's by Erin Sterling, which is the pseudonym for Rachel Hawkins, who I have read a couple of her YA books, and I liked them, but this one I'm really loving so far. I'm about this. I have like this much more to read, so I'm anticipating that I'll finish it either today or tomorrow. And there is a second one in this series coming out that's going to be about a different couple coming out in this year. I don't know what exactly month, probably October, right? Because it's a witchy book, but I'm super, super excited. I really, really love this book. I feel like there was like a whole, and I mean, it's still happening, but like a whole surge of like romance books with like contemporary witches. Like all of a sudden, like I feel like there's a bunch of other ones, and there's more that are coming out this year too, and I'm kind of loving it. Like this is the first one that I read, obviously with like the witchiness to it, but I just mean I love that like we're taking contemporary books and adding in like witches and werewolves, and I saw one about vampires that's coming out this year, and this one's just really cute. It's really sweet, really quick. I'm almost done with it, like I said, and I'm really, really excited to see how everything wraps up. I think the cover's super cute, and I just got to a part where like there's something more happening, but we don't know exactly what more. So the whole premise of this is when she's 19, Vivian gets her heart broken by Rhys, this guy who's like from a famous witch family. He breaks her heart and she curses him, but just like is messing around, like just like, I curse you, blah, blah, blah. Turns out the curse is real, and then the rest of the book takes place 10 years later when he returns to the town, and now not only is the curse affecting him, but it's spreading to the town as well and making things go haywire there, and they're trying to get together and solve the curse and how they can fix it, and as they do that, feelings start to arise, and they have really, really great chemistry. Rhys is also from Wales, so his dialogue it's always funny because I'm like, would a person from Wales actually say this? But you know what? I'm gonna go with it. It's really, really cute, and I'm excited to see how it's gonna wrap up. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now, and I'm hoping I can get at least this done and maybe start one more book before the dreaded day of my wisdom teeth coming out, because I really don't know how up I'll feel to reading then. So yeah, I'm gonna do another update in a couple days, see where I'm at, and then I don't know after my wisdom teeth come out how much reading I'm gonna get done for the week, which is unfortunate because it is my vacation week. So like this is the week I was really planning to try and get through a lot of my library books, but if I'm just like laying down in bed, I'm not gonna want to. My mom did say she would read to me, but can't be having to read certain books. She can't be reading the Ex-Hex to me with those sex scenes. I think I would be like, you know what, take my wisdom teeth out again if that happened. Alright, so final update for April. I finished the Ex-Hex and really, really loved it, and I'm super excited now for the second book that's going to come out this year. It has like a low rating because I guess people were thinking that it's about the cousin and the other brother, and I guess people thought that like the cousin was gonna have a female love interest because she mentions dating the mayor in the first book, so people are like, oh, I'm disappointed it's not sapphic, which I get, but at the same time, like, the cousin was very clearly written as either, I don't know, bi or pan, but like into either both genders, all genders, I don't really know, so it's just kind of like a little like, I don't know, with people being upset about that. I'm like, let's not erase our bi characters, you know? So I'm excited for that one. And then a whole lot of stuff happened because I got my teeth out. All 4 are out. I was able to stay awake for it, which I was really happy about because I was super anxious about that. And the surgery went well. It was just the recovery was, it's still rough. Like I still don't feel 100%, and it was just a lot of anxiety about like making sure that, you know, I wasn't bleeding and that I was recovering right. So I thought I'd be able to read a lot more than I actually did, because just the whole thing of like just reading like this, I didn't want to have my head down. Like, it just made me anxious, and I had to have ice packs that I was holding, so I couldn't really hold a book up like this, and it just didn't work reading. I was just too stressed. So I ended up listening to the audiobook, or trying to listen to the audiobook of I Kissed Shara Wheeler. And that reminded me that audiobooks really don't work for me. I'm just not like an auditory learner and processor. Like, I don't remember a lot of the details of what I was reading or listening to then. So I ended up finding an e-arc of it that I read through, and I really, really liked Shara Wheeler. I just love Cassie McQuiston books in general. I think are just so fun and like magical and just make you feel great. So even though I felt like shite reading it, it wasn't the book, and it did make me feel a little happy. So I'm definitely gonna go out and buy it and then reread like the actual physical copy of it. And then the last book I read this month was Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. Coincidentally, that is the second Rachel Hawkins book I read this month, because she wrote Ex-Hex under the pseudonym Erin Sterling. So Reckless Girls was kind of like, it wasn't a follow-up, but it was definitely set in the tone kind of, and the cover was very reminiscent of her last mystery, which was The Wife Upstairs. And I didn't like this one as much. I just think the mystery wasn't as compelling, and for the majority of it, it wasn't really like a thriller. It was just like people hanging out, and then the last like 100 pages all the stuff happened where you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It was definitely spooky and scary, and like I loved the ending. I thought that was really good, and like definitely needs to be made into a TV show or something, because it read perfectly. But it just wasn't as interesting in my opinion as the other one, and just I feel like there's better mysteries, but I still ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. So for the month of April, I ended up reading 10 books, which is so amazing. I didn't really have a goal for how many books I wanted to read, but I definitely wanted to read a lot. So I'm very, very happy that I read 10 books. It totaled up to about 2,909 pages. I did all the math on Goodreads to figure that out. So it really feels like a lot when I put it all together like that, and I'm very, very happy. I'm hoping that I can continue on with this trend. I didn't read a lot of the library books that I did have, so I'm hoping that I can get more on top of reading that next month. I do have some more out, some new ones out, so I'm gonna just try and keep up with that. There's also some really great May books coming out that I'm looking forward to. And yeah, if you have read any of these books or would like to share what you're reading and really love this month, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below what you read and what you thought of what you read, any books you'd be interested in seeing reviews on and stuff. And yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, I don't know quite how these videos are going to work, but I would like to do something at least on a monthly basis of just like the books I read, to keep kind of track for myself, and also to share with you guys and see what you guys are reading and what you guys are liking. So yeah, let me know like May books that you're looking forward to, April books that you really loved, and everything like that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!